Hi Cambridge class, here are 3 activities for you to complete for reading this week. The first one, from Daily News, is Shrill Carnabies make comeback in the UK. I'm going to read it so you can either read along with me or pause the video and read it yourself. What are pollinators? Animals like bees and butterflies which carry pollen from one flower to another are called pollinators. It is because of pollination that crops and fruit plants are able to produce the food we eat. Bees and other pollinators have been having a hard time in recent years. However, thanks to the hard work of volunteers in Somerset, some rare shrill carnabies are making a comeback. Shrill carnabies are named for their high-pitched buzzing sound and, like other bees, they play a crucial role in pollinating crops and other plants. However, according to the Bumblebee Conservation Trust, in the last 80 years our bumblebee populations have crashed. This has led to a dramatic decline in bee numbers and 2 species becoming nationally extinct. This is due in part to the loss of their habitats over the past decades. In fact, since the Second World War, 97% of the country's grasslands have been lost. Wildflower meadows and other grasslands are an important habitat for bees and other pollinators. This is why the volunteers at the National Trust's Lights, Carey Manor and Estate in Somerset have worked hard to create flower-rich habitats for the bees to thrive in. John Butler, a volunteer, said, "It has been a fantastic project to be involved with. I really hope this work will inspire others to play their part." World Bee Day. World Bee Day is an annual event designed to raise awareness of how important bees are and the need for more habitats to help bees and other pollinators. Recognising how important they are to our planet, the United Nations decided to make the 20th of May each year World Bee Day. They chose this date because it celebrates the birthday of Anton Jansa. He was famous for being an expert and a pioneer of beekeeping methods. He wrote books that helped others learn how best to care for bees. In one of his books about bees, he wrote that out of all the animals on earth, there are none so hard-working and useful. So the blue words have got an explanation in the glossary. Crucial is very important. So bees play a crucial role, an important role, in pollinating crops and other plants. Thrive means to develop or grow healthily. So they've worked hard to create flower-rich habitats for the bees to develop and grow healthily in. Annual means something that happens every year. So World Bee Day happens every year. And that's the 20th of May, so this Wednesday. And a pioneer is a person who is one of the first to do something. So Anton was famous for being an expert and the first person to be looking at beekeeping methods. Let's have a look at the questions. Question 1. Tick the 2 correct facts. Shrill carnabies are named for their low-pitched buzzing sound. Shrill carnabies are named for their high-pitched buzzing sound. Since the Second World War, 87% of the country's grasslands have been lost. 2 bee species have become nationally extinct in the last 80 years. Even if you think you know the answer, it's best to go back to the text and double check. So go back to the text and read the answer. Then complete question 2, question 3 and question 4. Pause the video while you play around going backwards and forwards. Then press play again. Two more questions here, then I will show you the answers. Now have a look and see if you are correct. Now a look at the second one. You may want to do this on a different day, or you may want to do this now. The second text is called Robot Tours Museum to Help People View Art, and that was published last week. What is contemporary art? Contemporary art is art that was made from the second half of the 20th century onwards. This includes works of art by artists who are living and working today. If you want to read the rest of it by yourself, you can just pause the video. If you want to read along with me, that's fine. With art galleries across the country closed at the moment, it can be hard to immerse yourself in masterpieces. Immerse means to dive into something. It's quite hard to dive into it when you're not there in person. However, one museum has come up with a way of letting people virtually stroll the galleries using a robot. The Hastings Contemporary Museum in Hastings, East Sussex, is taking groups of 5 people on 30-minute tours around the museum. It is letting visitors log in remotely to a robot which rolls around the gallery filming the artworks. The robot is called a telepresence and has a camera attached to a pole on wheels. It can be guided remotely from miles away. The tourists are taken around the collections by one of the directors of the gallery, who gives them more information about the art. The directors of the museum, so director, people in charge of a business or organisation. The directors of the museum were worried about how they could share the art when they had to shut. Luckily, Praminda Caleb Solly from the Bristol Robotics Lab, and that's a place where scientists and engineers research and create new robots, has been developing robots which are designed to help disabled people access things such as art. The lab knew these robots would be perfect for allowing tours, and she said she was thrilled to team up with the gallery. This is not the only exciting art news happening at this time. Banksy, the famous street artist, has created an artwork dedicated to the hard work of the NHS and donated it to a hospital in Southampton. The artwork shows a boy who has left Batman and Spider-Man aside for his new favourite superhero, an NHS nurse. The artist, who keeps his identity secret, left a note that said, "Thanks for all you're doing. I hope this brightened up the place a bit, even if it's only black and white." The artwork is being put on display in the hospital for a short while, and then it will be sold to make money for NHS charities. Now here are the questions. Pause the video, and I advise you to go back to the text to answer them carefully. Press play again when you're ready to move on. Scroll down for 2 more questions. Pause the video while you answer these. And then here are the answers. Let's see if you are right. Now let's have a look at the third and final text. And this is, velociraptors may have hunted alone. Why did the dinosaurs die out? One theory is that a mountain-sized meteor struck the Earth roughly 66 million years ago. It would have thrown a deadly amount of gas and vaporized rock into the atmosphere, which made it hard for plants and animals to survive. So either read it by yourself and pause it, or read along with me. If you're interested in dinosaurs, then you probably have a favourite. Maybe you think the Tyrannosaurus Rex was the king of dinosaurs, or maybe a humble herbivore like the Triceratops is your front runner. However, if your carnivore of choice happens to be a velociraptor, then you might not know it as well as you thought. Recent findings suggest that these famous carnivores were a different size to the ones made famous in modern TV shows, books and films like Jurassic Park. They were also feathered and did not hunt in packs. Despite paleontologists studying them for decades, we are still learning lots of new things about dinosaurs, and a paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils to find out about prehistoric creatures. This is done by carefully studying dinosaur remains, such as their bones, footprints, and their poop. These fossils are then compared to modern animals, which allows scientists to puzzle out what these reptiles might have been like. When trying to infer more about velociraptors, infer means use the available evidence to come to a conclusion. The scientists looked at the teeth of a raptor that lived about 115 to 108 million years ago. Joseph Fredrickson, who worked on the study, said, "If we can look at the diet of young raptors versus old raptors, we can come up with a hypothesis for whether they hunted in groups." And a hypothesis is an idea which could be the answer, but hasn't been proved yet. Their findings showed differences in the smaller and bigger teeth. This suggests that the raptors had a different diet as they grew. So diet is kind of foods that a person or animal eats. Animals that hunt in packs do not typically show such a variety in their diets as they grow, which suggests velociraptor young were not being fed by the adults. Therefore, they argue that this would have made velociraptors more like modern-day Komodo dragons, hunting alone, and less like... Oh, strange. Okay, here are your questions. So I suggest you go back to the text and read them carefully. And here is the rest. And now see if you are correct. Did you do well? Let me know. See you later.